Okay, I think this is better now. So if you can see my screen, can you please go to the questions box or chat box and say yes if you can see my screen, because I think you should be able to see it now. Okay, cool. Okay, excellent. All right, thank you so much for the feedback. Really appreciate it. You know, sometimes these things happen. My thing wouldn't start this morning, and I had to spend like 40 minutes with the support people on the line to fix it. But I'm so glad that it's working now. So here we go. Welcome to From Havoc to Harmony, the 5 steps to restore peace at home and rebuild your relationship with your ADHD child or teen. All right, so let's go ahead and eliminate all the distractions. Let's close all the background apps that might be open. Let's close all the Facebook chats and stuff like that, so that this can be your time. This is your hour to just focus on you and what you need, all right? And stay tuned for a special bonus that I have for you at the end of this presentation. So let's go ahead, and I want to start by asking you where you are from and what brings you here. So if you can go to the questions box and just say where you're from, just your city or state, or if you're outside of the United States, just say your country. Go ahead and do that. All right. And also say what brings you here. Oh, Sandra, you're from Petaluma. Oh, cool. I have a friend that lives in Petaluma. Kind of like this, that I like that whole area. It's very, very beautiful, very laid back. And Tamara's here from Seattle. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So does this sound like you? If this sounds familiar, please put in the questions box the word me. If your household is in chaos, if your child or teen just won't listen or do as they're told, there is a constant struggle over schoolwork and missing assignments in school, arguing over house chores, there's constant yelling, or worse, that you might not be talking to each other. So if that sounds like you, please put in the word me in the questions box. All right. Very good. So worst part of all is if you guys are not talking, if you're not talking with your child, or if there's a lot of yelling and arguing, there's probably a growing gap between you and your child. All right. Now, yeah, so I see me's. Okay. Yeah. So, but imagine, let's just take a moment, sit back, take a deep breath, and imagine what it would be like if your kid did as they're told. They did homework every day. They went to bed when they're supposed to. They got up on time. They did house chores, and they were polite and considerate. If that would be nice, if you're sometimes dreaming about that, please put in the word nice into the questions box, because I know that a lot of us are craving that kind of stuff. So yeah, put in the word nice. Yeah, so what I'm going to say might sound disappointing to you, but it's just not going to happen. So just saying, at least it's not going to happen right away. Not right away. And the truth is, the reason that whatever you have been doing up until now, and the reason why you're here, I hope, is because it has not worked, because it's not what you or your child needs. So what you will learn here today is you're going to get a fresh perspective on ADHD. And hint, hint, it has its advantages too. You might not expect that, but yeah, I'm going to show you some really cool things about ADHD. What you will learn here also is you're going to understand the needs of your child or teen and how they are being met or not met. We're going to talk about your needs, which is very important because a lot of parents of ADHD kids neglect their own needs. And so we're going to talk about how your needs are important, if they're being met or not met. And then we're going to talk about how you need to become the leader of your household and your family, and you need to become an effective communicator and why it's so important. All right. And we're going to talk about what makes a good leader and why. All right. And then we're going to talk about how to reframe your focus so that you can change your relationship for the better with your child. All right. Now, very quickly, what this is not a parenting advice. Okay. I'm not going to claim that I can tell you how to raise your child. That's not true. You are the only one who knows your child best. And so I'm not going to tell you how to raise your child and how to discipline them or what to do or not to do. Okay. This is actually for you. This is not for your child. This is for you as the parent. All right. So why am I doing this? Who am I? You might have seen my posts on Facebook, and you probably have seen my website. So you might know that I am a strategic intervention coach. I'm a relationship coach. My focus is the parents of kids with ADHD. I am a healthcare professional. I have a Master of Science. I have been a college educator for most of my career, and I've been speaker at conferences, and I'm a Reiki practitioner, but most importantly, I am a mom. Okay, just like you, I am a mom. These are my kids. These are Abby and Sam. One of them is the compliant child who does what they're told and is pretty easy to correct their behavior and pretty easy to discipline. And the other one is the spirited child. So go to the questions box and tell me if you can guess which one is my spirited child. Do you think it's Abby or do you think it's Sam? So go ahead and go to the questions box and put in your answer there. Do you think it's Abby, ABI, or do you think it's Sam, SAM? And I know a lot of kids with ADHD are boys, but actually there's actually a lot of girls. If you guessed Abby, you are correct. Yes. So in my case, it's one of those cases where it's the girl that has ADHD, and my boy, even though he was very energetic when he was younger and we were suspecting it, he's actually a compliant child now, which is really interesting. So what I want to do is I want to ask you about your spirited child. So your kid with ADHD, do you have a son or a daughter? And if you're not shy, you can include their name. How old is your kid? So go to the questions box and write in your kid's name, or at least say boy or girl, and how old are they? So I'm going to give you just a quick second to go do that right now because I can't wait to see your answers. All right, so go ahead. I know there's like a great variety. Some people come to me with pretty young children, like in their like kindergarten age or elementary school age. Others are preteens, and others are teenagers. So Sandra, I see yours is early adolescent. Tamara's kid is already grown. So here we go. So this. I'm going to share with you my story, or Abby's story. These are Abby's grades from kindergarten through the end of elementary school, and then when she went to middle school. So you can see in kindergarten, she was doing really great. It took her forever to do her homework, but we just didn't put the two and two together back then. We thought, oh, maybe she's just, distracted, or she doesn't like to do it. And I thought, okay, when I was in elementary school, sometimes it took me a long time to do my homework. So I thought maybe she's just like me. And then as she progressed, her GPA started going down and down and down. By the time she went to the 6th grade, so that's middle school, that's the beginning of middle school, her grades were really, really hurting, and we couldn't figure out what's wrong, what's going on with her. So I felt like a failure because I was always a straight A student when I was going to school. I finished my university with highest honors and everything was great for me. And I thought my kids should be really smart too. So I couldn't understand. Abby's so smart. She's so bright. How is she failing at school? And if you can relate, please go to the questions box and put in the word yes if you can relate to that. When you see that your child is failing at school, you feel pretty bad. And actually, they feel your feeling as a failure, and they feel bad for that as well. So this is us. We took this trip to Washington, D.C. with the kids, and you can see Abby and her facial expressions and her body language. She's really disconnecting from us, from me. And I felt like no matter what I was doing, it was not good enough. I felt like I was losing her. I felt this huge gap between us growing because my expectations were not being met and her needs were not being met. And so there was a lot of yelling and slamming doors and a lot of this sometimes silent pauses in between. And I just felt that I was losing my daughter. It was really, really scary for me. It was really sad. And then Abby, really smart girl, she asked to see a therapist. It was really smart. It was not us who thought of this. It was her. She said, I think I need to see a therapist. And so we found this Dr. Ruth Never. She was her first therapist, who suggested that Abby might have ADHD. She suggested that. And for her, at first, we didn't believe that. When I say we, I mean myself and Abby's dad. We didn't believe that she had it. I didn't think ADHD was real back then. But also Ruth said that she thought that Abby not only had ADHD, but she thought that Abby was severely depressed and anxious, and she could hurt herself. So when she told us that Abby could be suicidal, it was a huge wake-up call for me and Abby's dad, and that made us actually take it more seriously. So we decided, okay, we need to change our approach. We need to do something about this. If you can relate to any of this, please put in yes in the questions box. This is something that actually is pretty common in teenagers. And I knew that depression in teenagers is common. I just didn't think it was going to hit home so close and so fast. I didn't expect that coming at all. So surely enough, we took her to a psychiatrist who did some testing on Abby, and surely enough, Abby was diagnosed with combining ADHD with anxiety and depression. So again, since this was confirmed, this was kind of like a wake-up call to me to do something about it. So at first, I didn't believe it. I was like, how could it be? How could I have a child that is not normal? Why can't I just have a normal child? I felt like I wanted to scream. And of course, I went through the 5 stages of grief, the denial, the anger, the bargaining, depression, acceptance, all these 5 stages. And believe it or not, every so often, I still feel like I'm still going through those 5 stages because they're like ongoing. And sometimes you go through one at a time. Sometimes you go through all of them at once. So if you feel the same way sometimes that you're affected by this, please put me too into the questions box so that I know that I'm not alone and we're like in the same boat. So if you can put me too into the questions box, I'll know that I'm not alone. And you will also know that you're not alone. And so we tried medication. We've tried, I can tell you what we tried. First we tried Concerta. Then we switched to Vyvanse. Then we tried Ritalin, and we tried the Adderall. We tried all 4 of them. If your kid is medicated or not, please put in the questions box if they are medicated, and if they are medicated, what kind of medication they're on. It's interesting for me to see what kind of medication your kid is on. So Andra, is Andra medicated or not? And okay. What I found and what Abby found, because she was older when she got diagnosed, she was not like 5 or 6. You know, kids that are 5 or 6 and you give them medication, they will just take it because they don't know how to even object to that. But Abby, she said that medication made her feel like not herself. She felt that it was not working for her. She tried all these different kinds and none of them really stuck. So, and then we tried therapy. Okay, is your kid going to therapy? Please put in the questions box if you are going to therapy. Okay, Wellbutrin, gabapentin, and okay, all right, yeah, therapy. A lot of kids with ADHD do benefit from therapy or behavioral therapy. Yeah, and this is actually our therapist, Sophia, and this is the picture of the waiting room where I spent countless hours at the Family Therapy Center of Silicon Valley waiting for Abby while she was talking to Sophia. And it helped at some point, it helped a little bit for Abby and me as well. What I found is that I could not just fix it. I was trying to fix my daughter with meds, with therapy, with psychiatrists, psychologists. The problem is I could not just fix it. And that's what I wanted to do. And it's just not possible. You can't fix ADHD. It's not something that can just go away. The reason why it wouldn't work is because what I was trying to do, I was trying to fix her. And my problem is that as I was trying to fix Abby, my way of thinking was still the same. And my expectations of her were still the same. And you know, they say the same old thinking leads to the same old results. And that's exactly what I was getting. So my relationship with Abby was not getting too much better. Because my expectations were not really changed. So I decided, okay, if this is not working and I cannot fix her, I need to change the way I'm approaching the situation. So I decided, instead of thinking of this as a problem, I am going to approach this as an opportunity. Okay, so I decided to start educating myself. I bought a bunch of books. These are actually the books I have read: Understanding Girls with ADHD, Your Defiant Teen, Smart Scattered Teens, From Chaos to Calm, Effective Parenting of Challenging Children with ADHD. And as I was educating myself, I started seeing the change. And then I started taking classes, and I started watching these different videos and listening to TED Talks, and I started attending webinars and seminars. I actually signed up for some courses for myself just to help me understand it better. But what I found is that as I was getting educated, as my perspective started changing, I also started seeing the change in the relationship dynamic between me and Abby. All right. So as our relationship got better and better and better, you know, things have started improving, and this is what it looks like when it works. This is actually some pictures from the trip that I took my kids for their spring break. I took them to LA. It was like a road trip, and I let my son take some of his friends, and let Abby take some of her friends, and so all 8 of us went to LA for 5 days to spend there and explore. And the kids really appreciated that, especially Abby. And I felt that it helped me connect with my daughter better. The thing, though, is this journey, it took years. It took several years between when Abby was 12 and when things were at the bottom, until this was when she was, I think, 16. And things are still improving. Now she's 18. She just finished high school. And honestly, I wish that I had help through this process. So I realized that I was the one who needed to grow up during those years, during that process. And I also realized that it's time that I help others. Now that I have figured it out, I want to help others to go to figure this out. And I want to help parents just like myself so they wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. They wouldn't have to go through so much pain. Okay. Then I pulled up some statistics and I was blown away. Now take a look at these statistics. And if you think that these are shocking, which they were to me, go to the questions box and put in the word wow. Just W-O-W. So, well, this probably is not surprising that 5% of kids between ages 5 and 17 are diagnosed with ADHD, and most of these kids have another mood disorder that goes with ADHD. But what was shocking to me is when I found out that the kids with ADHD are 7 times more likely to commit suicide. That was an eye-opener. And look at the bottom one. Parents of ADHD children are 10 times more likely to commit suicide. That is the reason why I'm here today. I am here because I want to support parents of ADHD kids because they need that support. I wish I had the support, and now I want to provide the support to parents like you. So if this is surprising to me, to you, go ahead and put in the word wow into the questions box. All right. So I made it my mission to help other parents of ADHD kids, just like myself. Yeah, I'm getting some wows here. Yeah, cool. So I signed up for some coaching courses. At first, I signed up for coaching courses to coach myself, basically. And then as I started learning and I started getting more comfortable and started getting clients, I figured out, okay, I can help other parents of the kids with ADHD. And so I took the courses of the Strategic Intervention Center. This school is based on Robbins Madonna's techniques and strategies. And then, so I became a strategic intervention coach, a certified relationship coach. And I did some more training. I did some advanced relationship coach training. And then I did some advanced elite training for coaches, just so that I could really get down the strategies and tools that I could help others. So today, what I want to focus on is how you can restore the peace at home and rebuild your relationship with your kid in 5 steps. Okay, these are pretty simple steps, but they're not easy, so they will take some focus from you. So here we go. If you are ready, go ahead and put in the word ready into your questions box. Go ahead and put in the word ready so that I know you're ready. Okay, cool. All right, so the 5 steps are: step number 1, reframe the situation. And we're going to talk about what that means. So reframe means look at the situation differently. Look at it differently from what you used to. All right. Step 2, understand your child's needs. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about step 3, which is meeting your needs, which is so important because so many parents of ADHD kids neglect their needs. They forget about their needs. They feel guilty about meeting their needs. And we're going to address how important that is that your needs are met. Because when your needs are met, you can become a better parent. Step 4, learn to respond and not react. And then step 5, become the leader, not a manager. Because I bet a lot of parents are managers at this point. So you're trying to manage everything instead of leading. All right. So let's go to step 1, reframe the situation. And with reframing the situation, it means shift your focus to what is really important. So I want you to shift your focus from what's not working toward the fact that what you have is a happy and healthy child. All right. And that's what you want. What you want is a happy and healthy child. If your kid is happy, if they are healthy physically at least, then that should be your focus. All right. I want you to stop thinking about ADHD as a disability or some kind of disorder. I know it stands for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I know, which means out of order. If you think of the word disorder, it means out of order, which means it's not normal. But I want to step away from that label and start thinking of ADHD as a variety of the brain being wired for survival. All right. And the reason for that is because if you think about this, if you study genetics at all and you study the laws of genetics, you will find that, or you will learn that that in a sample of population, a population sample, there's always going to be a certain variety, and the percentage of individuals of a certain variety will stay the same through generations. So, for example, if 25% of people have blue eyes, that will stay, that will continue, okay? So the same thing with ADHD. If 5% of people have ADHD, it probably has been like this for thousands of years. And the reason that people with ADHD survived and they did not die out through evolution is because ADHD actually helped them survive. Believe it or not, because ADHD wires your brain for survival. ADHD brain works faster than everybody else's. Okay, that's what made them such valuable members of tribes thousands of years ago, and now they're valuable members of our society. They're excellent brainstormers. They think outside the box. They're very creative. They are resilient. Okay, so believe it or not, even though many of them suffer from depression, their depression is rooted in the fact that the way they are is not meeting the expectations of the society, of how the society expects them to be. So there's this inner conflict that leads to that depression. But if you let them be themselves, they are actually very resilient people because they don't dwell on the negative. That's what makes them resilient. Okay, they are comfortable going outside of the comfort zone. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to say that again. They're comfortable going outside of comfort zone, unlike many of us who love the comfort zone and it's so hard for us to push ourselves out of it. They need to break the routine. They need to be different. So, and a beautiful part is that they are, if they really care about something, when they're passionate, they can get really hyper-focused on it. All right. So I want to give you an example, and you can think of, there's so many examples of wonderful, talented people with ADHD. Albert Einstein, Robin Williams, Vincent van Gogh, Michael Phelps, Will Smith, Justin Timberlake, all these people, they have ADHD, and what made them shine is their ADHD. So I want you to start thinking of ADHD as something that can be embraced rather than condemned. Okay, so on this picture, you can see my cousin Eugene. This is my cousin Eugene, and this is his partner David. My cousin Eugene has had ADHD. It was never diagnosed, actually, because we came from a different country where those things were never even addressed 20 years, 30 years ago when we were growing up. And so Eugene's ADHD never got diagnosed, but it was obvious. Like now, to me, now that I think back, he was struggling at school so much because he just wouldn't fit into that box. But now he is a very successful entrepreneur. In fact, he and his partner made it into the top 30 entrepreneurs under the age of 30. So before he reached 30, he was one of the most successful entrepreneurs in this country. So what I'm trying to say is that people with ADHD can be very, very successful if you embrace their talent. Okay. All right. So, and actually, I read in the Entrepreneur magazine the other day that a lot of entrepreneurs and successful people actually have ADHD, and the ADHD is what made them so successful. All right. So, I want to name the positive qualities of ADHD again. They have high social intelligence. They're great at empathy, exceptional abilities. They're very talented, very creative. All right. Now, let's get on to step 2. So once you've embraced the ADHD, now you can focus on their needs instead of trying to fit them into a box of what the society needs from them and from you. You can actually focus on your child's actual needs. All right. So that is step 2. You need to understand your child's needs. Okay. And in order to understand your child's needs, you need to start listening. Right? Like this picture, it says, what if I told you, I already told you, and you didn't listen? And it is so true. Sometimes we talk over our kids, or we talk at our kids instead of really listening to what's going on with them. And for that, we need to really understand how their ADHD brain works. The way it's different, the ADHD brain is different from a regular brain, ordinary brain, is that it works faster. And sometimes the parts of the brain that work sort of like the brakes, like the filter or the brakes that stop them from blubbering out or outbursts that normally other people can't control, the ADHD brain works faster than their brakes, all right, or faster than their filter. Okay, so that leads to sometimes these emotional outbursts, or they think of so many things at the same time, all right? And if you have studied the ADHD brain, please go to the questions box and put in the word brain if you have studied it at all, if you did any reading about the brain, because that is usually where I start, because I identify myself as a scientist, and I'd like to break down and study everything. So it's important for me to understand how it works. So what's important for us is to help your children, or for you to help your child meet their needs. And these are the 6 basic human needs that are defined by Tony Robbins, that these are the 6 basic needs. They're not the same as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but what they are is the need for certainty. All of us have that need to feel that we have some stability in our lives, okay? You need to know, okay, that my mommy's here for me, my daddy's here for me, I have my room, I have the roof over my head and food on the table, and I am taken care of. I have stability. That's a basic need, the need for certainty, right? Once that need is met, we actually have a need that's the opposite of that, kind of like the uncertainty, the need for uncertainty, or we call it variety. And that is the need to kind of break things up a little bit, or shake things up a little bit. This is why we go on vacations. This is why we read books. This is why we go to movies, because just for a little bit, we can change the scenery, even if it's only in your mind. When you're reading a book, you're changing a scenery in your head, right? So this is also a very important need. Once your need for certainty and variety are met, then you have to have the need for connection met. So the need for love and connection is also very, very important, especially for the kids with ADHD. They need to feel that they are loved and accepted just the way they are. And you need to tell them that. You as a parent need to tell them that you love them just the way they are, no matter what. And then sort of like an irony, the next need that you need is the need to stand out, is to disconnect, and the need to feel special. That is the need for significance. So this is how, this is why we like to dress up or like to put on pictures on Facebook and Instagram. This is why we like to do something different and then tell others about it. This is why we go and get our higher education degrees sometimes, because we want to feel special, we want to feel important, we want to feel different. So that's significance. And then finally, once these 4 needs are met, then we need to meet the need for growth, which is constant developing, constant evolving of your character. If you're not growing physically, you're growing emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. And then finally, the need to contribute. Okay, we need to feel that we are making a difference in this world. Okay, so I want you to pay special attention to the need for certainty, the need for love and connection, the need for significance. These 3 are absolutely fundamental for ADHD kids. Okay, so if you understand that part, please go to the questions box and put in the word understand, because the need for certainty, the ADHD kids, they have so much going on in their lives at school, with their friends. When they come home, they need to have that certainty that everything is okay and my world is stable. They need to feel the love and connection. So even if they feel disconnected from their peers, they need to feel the love and connection, at least at home. They need to feel that with you. They need to feel special. So if they are not getting that outside of home, they need to at least feel special when they're with you. That's why it's so important that you praise them. Praise them for everything good, okay? Make them feel special, make them feel important. And if you are not going to do it, they're going to go to social media, they're going to go to strangers to try to meet these needs. Okay, this is why it's so important that you as a parent are doing your part in helping your child meet these needs. Okay, but guess what? Their needs does not include meeting your needs. That is your responsibility. Your kid is not going to do anything to try to meet your needs. In fact, it is pretty much useless to expect your child to behave a certain way or change their behavior so that you can feel better about them or feel better about the situation. Okay, that means that it's up to you to meet your needs. So that brings us to step 3, meeting your needs. Only you can do it. Okay, and guess what? You have the same 6 human needs. The same need for certainty, the same need for variety, the need for connection and love, significance and growth and contribution. All right, so you have the same 6 human needs, and they need to be met. They must be met. All right, so please answer these questions into the questions box. Are all your needs being met? And just simple yes or no. If all your needs are being met. And I am expecting quite a bit of no's, because we put ourselves on a back burner so much as parents, because we put everyone in front except ourselves. In fact, when I was preparing this program, I interviewed several moms of kids with ADHD, and the common theme was that there is no me time. They have no me time. They don't have any time when they're just focusing on themselves and meeting their own needs. And it is so common. And what I want to say again, that it's absolutely imperative. And I know a lot of moms feel guilty focusing on their own needs, but it's so important. Because when you're not meeting your needs, when your needs are not met, you are not thriving. And when you're not thriving, when you're not in a thriving mode, you are in a surviving mode. All right. So the surviving mode is when you feel stressed. So if you feel that you have been in the surviving mode for the past, I don't know, months, years, please put in the word surviving into the questions box. And it's so important that we at least recognize that, when we want to change something, it's so important that we at least recognize what this is, what the problem is, so that we can go from there and then reframe it and then work it out. Because when you're in the survival mode, you have no way of thinking outside of the box, of thinking creatively. Yes, I see surviving in the questions box. Thank you for replying. So what I want to do with you today is I want to shift your way of being from survival mode into the thriving mode. So we want to reframe, refocus, and shift you from survival mode into the thriving mode. It's so important. And the first step to do that is you need to make that choice today, right now. You're going to make that choice that you're going to be happy no matter what. Okay. And I know it will take some time. It will take some focus. It will take some practice, because that's how you rewire your brain. You just practice the new way of thinking and your brain eventually gets rewired. But what's important is that when you're in the thriving mode, you are more likely to make positive responses. So that's why we need to get you out of surviving mode into the thriving mode. All right. And when you're in the thriving mode, then you can respond instead of reacting to your child, to pretty much anything or anyone that's going on in your life. So that brings us to step 4, respond, not react, become an effective communicator. So what does that mean, respond, not react? It means that you're going to make a decision today, right now. I will feel good no matter how my child behaves. I know it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But start by just writing this down. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, and just write this down. I will feel good no matter how my child behaves. Okay, just take a moment, just write this down. I will feel good no matter how my child behaves. Okay, because it's so important that once you make that decision, you're going to start using positive responses to even events that you perceive as negative. Okay, there are no negative events. Everything that happens is either a lesson or some kind of a way to get us to grow. Okay, so even things that you think are negative or you thought of as negative before, by using this approach, you can make positive responses to even these events, and that will lead to positive outcomes. Now, please note, it's not the same as positive thinking in the old way of the way that you would think about positive thinking. Positive thinking, if you're thinking that if I say it's sunshine, it's sunshine, it's sunshine, even though it's raining, it's not going to stop raining, right? That's not how it works. What it simply means is that now you can take what is and make the best out of it. Okay, so when your focus is in the right place, you are more likely to respond instead of reacting. All right, so I want you to write down another phrase, and I want you to start doing this. Just write this down and then start reading it to yourself every day for the next week until this becomes part of your mantra. Okay, I want you to write down, let yourself be yourself. Let them be themselves. What it means is I want you to start loving and accepting yourself just the way you are. And then once you have accepted yourself, then you can fully and truly love and accept another just the way they are. So I want you to love and accept yourself, and then you can love and accept your child just the way they are. Okay? So let yourself be yourself and let them be themselves. So just accepting is a very important part of this picture and an important piece of the puzzle. Okay? Once you have established that new way of thinking, then now that you're in the thriving mode, you're accepting yourself, you're accepting your child. In fact, you're focused on your child being happy and healthy. Now you can become a true leader. Now, what does that mean, a true leader? A true leader doesn't just manage. Okay, go here, sit there, eat now, get up, go to bed. That's a manager. A leader inspires. A true leader inspires. So I want you to think of the ways that you can empower your child to make wise choices on their own. It's so important that we teach our children to make their own wise choices, because a manager will make a choice for you and they will just manage you carrying out that choice. That's not what we want in the long run. Okay, so what we want is, as a leader, we want to respond, not react, and then you can get the outcomes that might even be better than you expected. So I want to bring up this tale. This is Aesop's fable about the sun and the wind. Okay, so think of these as two leaders or two managers and you decide which one of them is a leader and which one of them is a manager. Okay, so the wind and the sun had a bet, an argument. They got into an argument, and the argument was about which one of them is more powerful. And they decided to test that and see which one of them is more powerful, which one of them is stronger. So they saw this lone traveler, and they decided to make a bet. Whichever one of them gets the coat or the cape off of the traveler, that one gets to be the more powerful one. So the wind started blowing and blowing and blowing, and the stronger the wind blew, the more the traveler was resisting and holding on to his coat. So then the sun came out, and when the sun came out, it became warm and nice and pleasant, and it became so warm that the traveler did what? He took off that cape himself. All right. So now you decide which one of them was a manager, which one of them was a leader, and which one you want to be like. Do you want to be like the wind, or do you want to be like the sun? Okay. So what I want you to really get down today is that true leaders give their kids roots, and then they give them the wings. The roots are the foundation, the education, the moral foundation that you give to your kids. That's what you do at home by showing them through example, by having deep conversations with them. Those are the roots. The wings are the ways you empower and inspire your kids to be the best people that they can be, to be really the best citizens, the best persons that they can be. All right. So I like to use these true leaders, triple E: elevate, educate, empower. You might want to write this down, the triple E of a true leader. Elevate means you praise your child. Okay. You make them feel important. You make them feel good about themselves. Educate is you give them the foundation. You give them the You tell them the stories, and then empower is when you actually let them make their own choices. You see, if you always make the choices for your child, all you're teaching them to do is just to listen to you. But what you really want is you want them to eventually develop the ability to make their own choices. All right. So what I am here to do today is I am here to elevate, educate, and empower you. Remember, this is your time, and this is what I have been doing this for the past 50 minutes or so. All right. So what I'm saying is this is your time today. Okay, so if we review what we covered, step 1 was we reframed the situation. Step 2, we understood, or we have to understand our child's needs. Step 3, you have to meet your needs because nobody else is going to do it. Step 4, respond, not react. You can do that only when your needs are met. And once you have learned to respond, not react, and your needs are met, that's when you can become a true leader of your household and of your family. Okay, so other people that are using the same strategies, the same 5 steps, this is an example of Kay and CJ. Actually, for the purposes of this webinar, I changed their names. But CJ has been diagnosed with ADHD since he was in kindergarten. And Kay has been applying these methods with her parenting and her relationship with CJ. And I can't tell you that I think their relationship couldn't be better. This is him today. He just passed driver's license test. So here he is now. He's in high school now, and we could not be prouder of him. So I like to use this little quote here, and I found it written by Peter Drucker, but others say that Lincoln said that. But what I like is the content of it. The best way to predict your future is to create it. You know, I've worked with clients that have been calling the psychic hotline almost every day, and I thought, my goodness, if you want somebody else to predict your future, you're giving up all your power. The best way to predict your future is actually to create it yourself. If you agree with that, go to the questions box and write the word agree. That nobody can really tell you what's happening in your future. And you can always change it. You know, psychics can sometimes tell you pretty good, accurate predictions, but then you never know if they simply told you something and then you went ahead and manifested it because they told you, because they programmed you that way. So you never know. And I actually have seen this play out true for me in my personal life. And I'll tell you about that in another time, in another episode. All right. So just to recap why you're here because you want to improve your relationship with your child or teen. You want to have peace at home and peace of mind. You want yourself to feel happy and fulfilled, and you want your child to be happy and fulfilled. All right. So you're thinking, okay, you can take everything that you've learned today, which actually I gave you, I hope, some valuable information. If you found value in this information that I have given you today and these 5 steps, please go to the questions box. It's important to me, and put in the word yes so that I know that that you found some value, that you found some interesting insights here through this webinar. Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate your feedback. So what you could do is you could take these 5 steps that I've taught you today, and you can apply them right away. All right, you can start today. And you could take everything you learned here and try to do it yourself, or I can give you another option. because I have put together a very special program that's designed for parents just like you. And this program is called HAVOC to Harmony live workshop series. So in these live workshop series, I actually break it down step by step. And this is like an A to Z blueprint that provides you with step-by-step instructions to achieve the relationship with your spirited child that you crave and deserve. So what this is, it's a 6-week program of weekly live workshops. So it's sort of, think of it as an online class, okay? So I'm offering you like an online class where that class meets 6 times in real time, just like this webinar today. So we would get online and I would give you lots of information. I will teach you strategies. I will teach you specific tools. And at the end of the lecture, we will have a live Q&A session. So if you want to address certain topics that are like personal or personal situations, that will be your opportunity to get real time with me, sort of a real Q&A session where I will be answering your questions right there on the spot. Okay, so in this program, what you can learn is we're going to talk about developing brain, what you need to know, the do's and the don'ts for parents of ADHD kids. That's very important. A lot of people don't realize what they should not do with ADHD kids. If you got a chance to get my do's and don'ts parents resource guide, please put in the word guide in the questions box, because I have put out this free parents resource guide that you can just download from your computer. And you can actually even open it on your smartphone. It's like a 2-page PDF that I offered for free. So if you have got that, please put in the word guide. And if you haven't, let me know and I'll send it to you, okay? So you can just email me back or just put in the questions box, send it to me, and I will send it to you, all right? So we're gonna also talk about dealing with difficult and aggressive behavior. We're gonna talk about how to stop the back talk and get your child to listen. We're going to talk about the 4 modes of communication and how to respond to each, understanding, recognizing, and meeting your needs and your child's needs, rewiring your brain to become an effective leader of your life and your household, and then dealing with your burnout and fatigue, which is very, very important because so many of us parents of ADHD kids, we're just tired, we're just exhausted because we are in that surviving mode most of the time. So additionally, I have these 4 special topics that I put together into this the final workshop in the series. We're going to talk about your child and electronics. We're going to talk about homework, cleaning up their room and other chores, and very important self-destructive behaviors. So, all right, so if you want the breakdown week by week, in the first week, we're going to talk about the differences between spirited versus compliant kids, how the ADHD brain is wired for survival, how to respond to difficult and aggressive behavior. We're going to talk about emotional meltdowns and how to de-escalate from emotional meltdowns, which is so common with ADHD. And there's going to be live Q&A at the end. And then in week 2, we're going to be talking about meeting your child, meet those 6 human needs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into details about these 6 human needs that I mentioned earlier today. And we're going to pay special attention to certainty, love, connection, significance, and what you can do to really pinpoint those. Your child's and yours emotional bank account, we're going to talk about that, filling that up and keeping it full, fighting with siblings and back talk, voluntary attention versus involuntary attention, and then helping your child find fulfillment and higher meaning, which is so important. You know, sometimes we are so stuck on go do your homework and go make your bed and put away your dishes that we forget about higher meaning. And of course, there's live Q&A at the end. All right. Then there is week 3. We're going to talk about positive intelligence, what it means, and what it means for you and how to get more of it, dealing with burnout and fatigue. We're going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about life and de-stressing. We're going to talk about the wheel of wellness. And I have mentioned before that I'm a healthcare professional. In fact, I'm a registered dietitian, so I will be addressing your needs, and I will be addressing your physical needs, and with specific attention to your nutritional needs and your child's nutritional needs. Okay, and live Q&A at the end. Week 4, we're going to talk about what your kids wish that you knew, what ADHD kids wish their parents knew, what never do or say to your ADHD child. We're going to talk about this special part I've prepared, the 12 tips for parenting, different modes of communication that are used in different circumstances, choosing your battles, which is very important in ADHD, and how to respond in each mode. Okay, so that also ends with live Q&A, like any other workshop. Workshop 5, in week 5, we're going to talk about the 4 animal prototypes of the modes of communication. We're going to talk about what mode of communication you go into when you talk to your child. What about your child? What about how to get out of that mode, or how to make it work for you, which is very important. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how you can be going into different modes of communication under different circumstances. So you might be using one mode with one person and another mode with another person, or you might be switching to different modes in different situations with the same person. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how to respond effectively to each mode when the other person is in that mode. And then in addition, I will be teaching you a daily strategic intervention strategy to apply immediately. I mean, these work right away. You can implement them right the same day, and you will see results immediately with these. So the SI strategies that I will teach you are called the Crazy 8 strategy, the 4 P's strategy, the Fantastic 5 strategy. I just love that one. The emotional maturity strategy, many parts of relationship strategy, and the many love styles strategy. All right, so I will pay special attention. Just there will be like a part of every workshop where I will teach you a new strategy, and you can apply it immediately in your life. Okay, and then finally, the last week, week 6, is going to be about your child and electronics, about house chores, about homework time, and special topic, self-destructive behaviors and what to do now. All right, so again, every workshop session ends with live Q&A where you can ask questions in real time. And then those weekly workshops are actually starting next week. So if you're wondering when they're starting next week. I am running them starting July 25th, 26th. So I make 2 days available for each of the workshops. So workshop 1 will be run on Wednesday, July 25th, and Thursday, July 26th. So workshop 2 will be a week after that, workshop 3 a week after that. So we will finish by the end of August. All right, so all these workshops will finish by the end of August. So they will go from July 25th all the way until August 30th, I think. Okay. So if you sign up and you miss a session, like you miss one of the workshops, not a big problem, because I will be recording every single workshop, and I will make the recording available in the membership area, so you can watch it at the time that's convenient for you. The only thing about watching a replay is that you cannot get the live Q&A with me because that's available only during the live session. All right. Okay, so I will be giving everyone a heads up that the workshop is starting. And what is important is that once you sign up for the workshop series, you will sign up for all 6 workshops at once. So you will have the same link to go to attend all these 6 workshops. Okay. In addition to doing the workshops, if you sign up for the workshops, you also get a discount if you choose to go for private coaching with me one-on-one. Get 20% discount, which is a really great discount. And there's going to be an access to a private Facebook page, actually Facebook group page, I should say, specific for H2H members only. All right. Okay, so you're probably going to ask me, what is the investment? So I have either one single payment option or 3 payments. You choose what works better for you. If you choose to go with one, it's $297, or you can break it up into 3 payments of $127 each. Okay, and the good news I have for you is the fast action bonus I have right now. If you sign up during this webinar, you get extra 15% off. So you will be paying, instead of $297, you'll be paying only $252. All right. And to get to that, all you need to do is go to coachjelena.com/H2H join. I do offer these 30-day money-back guarantee. So if for whatever reason you are not happy with those workshops and you decide to that it's not right for you, no problem. You just send me a quick email and you get your money back right away. All right. So 30 days from when you sign up. Okay. So right now, I want to offer you to go to coachjelena.com/H2H join, and to use the fast action code, please write it down. It's LIVE15. So live 15. Okay, because while we're live on this webinar, you can apply that code and you can go ahead and use it. So once again, coachjelena.com/H2H join. And this is the place where you would apply your code. So when you get to the checkout page, you just enter it in this coupon. So you go to where it says have a coupon, click here to enter your code. Then you click on it and you enter your code and you are good to go. All right. And then once you get to your membership site, once you've signed up, this is what you will see on the welcome page. You will see a welcome video from me that welcomes you to the workshop series. And then it's going to ask you to choose which group you want to sign up for, if you want to choose the Wednesdays group or you want to go to Thursdays group. And all you need to do is just you click on that and it will take you to a page that looks like this, and it will tell you when it meets. So it will tell you workshop 1. This is a Thursday example. Thursdays, July 26th at noon or 3 p.m. Eastern, and it will tell you all the workshops. You will see this says this webinar meets 6 times. So all you do is just put in your name and email address and you register and you are set. Okay? So if you have questions, this is a great time for questions. So use the questions box to go ahead and put in your questions now. Okay, and in the meantime, I'm going to give you my contact information. So on this page, you can see my phone number, so you can write it down. And if you are in the U.S., obviously you can call anytime. Please write down my phone number so you can call me for questions. It's 1-408 area code 398-9739, or you can email your questions to me at coachjelena@gmail.com. Or you can also visit my website. You can just go to coachjelena.com. It will tell you about my coaching styles, what methods I use, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so quickly to go over some questions. Okay, a common question about how long will it take you to complete this program? The program is 6 weeks long, so it starts next week and it will go on for 6 weeks, and it will finish by the end of August. Do you offer a payment plan? Question about, do you offer a payment plan? Yes, you can either pay all at once, or you can choose to split it up into 3 payments. Okay, another question. If I'm going out of town next month, will I get too far behind? Well, as I mentioned, the workshops are getting recorded, so you can always revisit the replay. And then you can ask questions in the member area later on so that you won't miss a beat, actually. So all the workshops are recorded, so you can access the recordings later. And then if you really want to ask questions and you did not get to do the live Q&A, then you can simply ask questions in the discussion board below the videos. Okay, is there anything else that you need to buy to see results? Actually, no, you don't need to buy anything else. So this is the only thing. Okay. All right. Question, do I get a lifetime access? The answer is yes, absolutely. As long as this website is in existence and as long as I'm alive, you're going to get lifetime access to your workshop site. So even months and years after this workshop is over, you will still get access to it. So, in addition to that, when I make improvements to it or update it, you get access to that as well. Okay. Question, will I be able to ask you questions if I get stuck? The answer is absolutely yes. You can ask me questions either during the live Q&A in the workshops, or there is going to be a discussion section available at the bottom of the page for each workshop on my website, and you can post questions there, and I will be answering them on a regular basis. Okay. Once again, let's see here. What is the refund policy? The refund policy is 30 days from the day that you purchase the program. So if you buy the program today, it will be 30 days from today. If you buy the program tomorrow, it will be 30 days from tomorrow. Okay. Do I have to buy now? The answer is, well, if you buy now, you can take advantage of the special 15% off discount. But no, you don't have to buy now. But the workshop starts next week, and by then I will no longer be selling. So by then the enrollment will close. So the enrollment will close by Wednesday morning, the 25th of July, morning for me on the Pacific Coast. So by 10 a.m. On Pacific time of Wednesday of next week, that's when the enrollment will end. Okay. And do we have any other questions? If there are no other questions, please go to the questions box and say no questions. Or no, I don't see any more questions. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to leave the timer on, and I will go ahead and let this keep going. All right. There we go. All right, I will leave the timer on so that you can opt in while the timer is going. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for who tuned in, for everyone who listened. Thank you so much, and I will see you later. I'll see you in the workshop.